It has been a very, very long time. The only reason that I can give is that I had a lot going on in my personal life. I had lost someone very, very near and dear to my heart, and now I feel like the new year's here, and I'm ready to get back into YouTube and social media and all that stuff. So, starting off, we're gonna do a 2025 wrap up and like a 2026 anticipated reads. I missed you guys so much. I miss making videos. I miss editing them and posting them and talking to you guys on YouTube and TikTok. At the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, I kind of fell off the bandwagon with reading. I was having a hard time at the beginning of this year, and at the end of this year was really rough. So I didn't really read much at all. But throughout the middle of the year, I think we did pretty good. My goal for the year was 50 books. I wanted to read 50 books. We did not make it. But had I, continued to read at the rate that I was reading, we would have definitely made it. But that did not happen. So my goal was 50 books, and we read 40, which I think is still pretty good considering. And my top genre was thrillers. Surprisingly, I honestly thought that I would have gotten into a lot more fantasy. I love fantasy, like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. Those movies I absolutely adore, which I will be reading hopefully this year. I'll be actually reading those, and then I can kind of do like a compare and contrast between the book and the movies. Out of the 40 books, 19 of them were thrillers. So, top books. I'm just going to go through a list of books that I rated very, very highly. The first one that I have here is House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. His book's in journal. I read a few of his books, and I think I rated all of them highly. All the ones that I have read this year, because they just kept me guessing. Like, maybe I'm just really bad at guessing endings to books and like plot twists and stuff. His books constantly had me guessing. Is it this person? Is it that person? Is this going to happen? Or is that going to happen? And most of the time I was completely wrong. From Riley Sager, I read The House Across the Lake. Middle of the Night was the first one I read from him, about this guy who goes back. He had a very traumatic experience during his childhood, and he comes back to his hometown, and he's kind of figuring out what happened to his best friend, because his best friend went missing. You kind of learn about that. And the other one that I read was The Only One Left. That one had me guessing constantly. And the ending of that just completely got me. Another thriller author that I read a lot of was Freida McFadden. A lot of people talk about her books, so I read quite a bit of them. They're honestly kind of a hit or miss. Most times they're a miss, not gonna lie. It was fine or it was really bad. But I have 2 books out of, I think I read 9 books this year from her. I only had 2 that were like really, really good, like a 4-star or higher. And that was The Housemaid, of course. I absolutely love that book. It got me. And I'm so excited. The Housemaid movie just came into theaters, so I'm really excited to see it. And have my husband watch it with me. He doesn't know anything about the book, and I'm going to be kind of curious if he figures out what's going on, and I'll let you guys know what happens with that. And he's pretty good at guessing like what's going on, but I'm pretty sure he won't be able to get The Housemaid. That book was so good, and for good reason why it's such a popular book. It's like, I would say probably her best book that she's written so far that I've read. The Perfect Son, I think, was one of the first books I read from her, and I know it's kind of like a hit or miss for people, but it honestly got me. And honestly, if a thriller book gets me, then like 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna love it. Remember, that one was one of the first books I read this year. That was like back in the springtime. I don't know if it's because I'm a mom. I enjoyed that book a lot. The last book that was one of my top books this year in the thriller category was That's Not My Name. That book was so good. Oh my goodness, if you have not read that book, please do. Please do. Honestly, I should have seen the ending coming, but I didn't. That's probably on me. And it was just so good. I had such a fun time with That's Not My Name. It's about a girl who is like found on the side of a road or found in the woods somewhere, and the police like take her in, and her dad comes and gets her, and it's I don't know how to explain it without spoiling it, but like her dad picks her up, and then she like has this, like her memory's gone and she doesn't remember anything. She doesn't know her name or anything about her childhood, anything like that. So it's basically her and her dad, her trying to put the pieces together, trying to remember. And there's also another POV from the main dude. I can't remember his name. I can't remember either of their names. But you get a POV from the dude, this teenage boy who his girlfriend has went missing, and he's like suspect number 1. You kind of have to, and it's like kind of like it goes along side by side. If you haven't read it, please do. What's her name? Megan. I can't remember her last name. I'll put it on the screen. But the author, I was reading her other book, and I can't remember what it's called. That came out, I think, this year or last year. It came out recently. I started reading her second book. I'll have it right here. Enjoying it, and when I was reading that book is when things in my life were falling apart, and I ended up just putting a halt on everything. But I remember that I was having a good time, and I'll probably start reading it again soon. That's pretty much it for the thriller category. Let's see, young adult. I think I only read like maybe 1 or 2 young adult books this year, and my top, like, I absolutely love this. I gave this a 5-star, and it's so underrated, and I don't understand why more people aren't talking about this, but it is Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce. It is about a theater girl and a nerdy tabletop game boy, and I love Dungeons and Dragons. I used to play it with my family all the time, and it was one of my favorite pastimes. And it's just such a cute book. It's a fake dating, like, you know, fake dating always ends up someone catches feelings every time, but it's like a mutual fake dating, high school romance, and I adored it. I thought I had such a good time, and it's truly a crime that I don't really see anyone talking about this book. Christy Boyce came out with the second book, and I have it somewhere. Called Datings and Dragons. I don't know too much about this book. I'm assuming this is like with the Friends group, You know what I mean? Like a kind of like an interconnected standalone, where to see like the romance between two other people in the friends group. At the very beginning of the year, I tried to read a kind of dark romance. I'm sure it's definitely not what a lot of people would consider dark romance, but I guess it's like kind of in that genre. Hooked, by Emily McIntyre. And I got through, I think, 4 of the books in this series, and they just didn't hit it like Hook did for me. Like, they were fine, but this one is so far my favorite. I think there's 2 left. There's like Crossed, which I think is about Hunchback and Notre Dame, and Hexed, which is about Ariel. This one is about like Captain Hook and Wendy, and I just had such a fun time. The past 3 books weren't necessarily, like, they were fine, they weren't my favorite, but I'll probably end up getting the rest of these covers just because they're just so beautiful. I'm not going to close my mind off to it completely, but I honestly don't think dark romance is my thing. The rest of the books that I have here that were on my top were kind of they were fantasy based. The first one I'll talk about here is the Wren in the Holly Library. This one I remember this one I read at the beginning of the year too. Kind of lost me a little bit at the end, so I might reread the last 100 pages. This is about a thief, and she tries to steal from the Holly Library. She uncovers things in that, where she meets this monster. She's like a human, he's like a monster kind of thing. Unravel some secrets, and it was just a good time. I loved it. Robin and Oak Throne came out, and I got that book too, so I'm really excited to read that. It's a different take. It's like New York City, she's a thief, big town, and the monsters are kind of ruling the earth. These little scrapers that get like book stickers off, because these are really freaking annoying. Anyways, next book that was I think I did like a 4.75. I might just change it to a 5 because I love this book so much, and I think about the characters quite often. Is Wings of Starlight. It was so good. If you've ever watched the Tinkerbell movies, I did a lot as a kid. Those were some of my favorite. It brought me back to my childhood, honestly. I ate it up. My second favorite book this year that I read, and I remember reading it, and it just made me smile so much. It was so cozy, and I adored every second of this book, and that is The Spell Shop. Such a cozy time. I would read this, like, if you're gonna read this in like the summer. Keela, she is a librarian in the big city, and there's a lot of unrest, and she has to flee the city, and she takes some of the library books because she loves books, and so she takes a bunch of books to protect them, and that was kind of illegal. So she disappears on this island that her and her family used to live on. Like, her best friend is a plant named Kaz, and he is so funny. It's just so cute, cozy, magical. Like, that's all I can really say. I have the next book in the series, The Enchanted Greenhouse, and I cannot wait to read that one. Alright, so my top read for 2025 was Shield of Sparrows. I adored this book. It's about a girl who kind of just there. Like, no one really expects much from her. And there was supposed to be an arranged marriage between another kingdom and her sister. They go to like do the arranged marriage. King, I think, or the prince, decides he wants the other sister and not this sister supposed to marry. Bodyguard, kind of the guardian, is supposed to be like this mean, scary dude that a lot of people fear, and he's like this big killer, I think. The banter between the Guardian and the FMC is so freaking funny. Such time, and I adored every second of it. I might reread it, honestly. I'm in like so many different book clubs, guys. I'm like in 3 different book clubs. This was one of my book club's picks for one of the months, like halfway through the year. Some people hated it, some people loved it. I was one of the people that loved it. It was so refreshing that the FMC was not already like a warrior badass. Not saying that that's wrong, but a lot of books that I have read recently, that's all that it is. And it was just really refreshing to me that the main girl wasn't like a warrior badass right off rip, and she was kind of just that girl in the background that, like, she was just there. And honestly, like, I could connect to that. That's all of my top books from 2025. I would say that we had a pretty good year with books. I think my average rating was like 3 point something, which most of the books that I read, it was either a 3 or a 5 or a 2. There's been some books that I read that weren't so good. I only have a few on here. I don't want to be too mean, but these are the ones that I did not care for. And just so you guys know, this is my personal opinion. If you feel differently and you love these books, that's fine. But these books were my lowest books that I've read this year. First one was The Tenant by Freida McFadden. I was so annoyed with this book. It was honestly starting to piss me off. And I probably should have DNF'd it, but I didn't. And just because it was just aggravating. It was so aggravating reading this book. The book, the main dude feels like he's going crazy, and you're wondering if he's actually going crazy, which was making me feel like if I was going crazy. And I didn't like that. They kept going back and forth, like, is it not this, or is it this? And it was driving me up the wall. The next book was The Gift by Freida McFadden, and it was a very short, it was only like an hour. And I think that might have been also why I didn't really care for it, because it was so short. I don't know what happened with that one. I just know at the end of it, it just pissed me off. I was so mad. I was so mad after reading The Gift. I'm glad it was only an hour and I didn't waste like a whole day reading it. Next one was Heavenbreaker, which I still have here. I keep debating if I want to get rid of this or not. It's like a sci-fi fantasy kind of book, and most of the time I was just confused. I don't know if it's just not for me. It's probably just not for me. I'm sure this is a really good book, and it's just not for me. I don't know if I just want to get rid of it or if I want to give it another shot. Maybe it was just like wrong timing, you know, and I should have just DNF'd it, but I didn't. It's, I don't know, some weird sci-fi fantasy thing. It has to deal with jousting. That's all I can remember from it. I should have DNF'd it. That's all I can say. It's just, I should have DNF'd it. I don't know what. I was so confused. And then the last book that was, I would say, my lowest rated books was Wretched from the Never After series. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. The whole poetry thing was not for me. I really couldn't, I couldn't connect. I liked the male character, I think, but I hated the girl, and she just irritated me the entire time. The entire time I was reading, I was just irritated, and I don't know why. I think it's a pretty universal thing that the whole series Wretched is like the lowest out of all of them. Yep, that was my my 2025 reading wrap up. Let's get on to the 2026 anticipated reads. I have quite a few, probably not as much as most, but I have a few. I have them in order of release date, or when they say that they're going to release. I don't know if these will be pushed back or not. The first one that I have is The Faraway Inn by Sarah Beth Durst, the same person that the same person that wrote The Spell Shop. It's different from the Spell Shop, like I think universe. It's kind of like its own thing. It looked interesting. That, and just because I love The Spell Shop so much, I'm probably going to buy and read anything that Sarah Beth Durst writes. So, that comes out March 31st. Another book that comes out March 31st is What We Did to Survive by the same person that wrote That's Not My Name. Megan, whatever her last name is. Megan something. I'm sorry, I can't remember it. I apologize. My memory is completely trash. The title sounds very interesting. And it sounds like they did some things that they probably were forced to do. I don't know. Only one book coming out in April that I'm really interested in, and that is Rights of the Starling by Devney Perry. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's the sequel. The sequel to Shields of Sparrows. Oh, I want to get back into that universe so badly. That comes out April 7th. In May, I didn't write down the date, but sometime in May, Roles in the Rivalry. That is the third book in the Dungeons and Dragons YA contemporary romance. I'm really excited about that. Also, another book from Sarah Beth Durst is Sea of Charms, which I think is part of the Spell Shop and Enchanted Greenhouse world. It comes out July 28th, and I know it's just gonna be a cute book. Have you seen cover art for it? It's just I want to be by the ocean, on the beach, reading this book. I know it's going to be so good. The Adversary to the Villain. As you can see, I've only read this one, but I loved it so much that I have this book, the second book, and the third book, and the fourth book is coming out next year. So I will have all of these, and I also have the hardback for the first book. I will have all of these read before the fourth book comes out, and I'm just so excited. I love Evie. I love the villain. She is kind of like an assistant. Well, she's the assistant to the villain that everyone hates and everyone thinks is bad, and she starts falling for the villain. And it's just the slowest burn I have ever read, and I just eat it up. But yeah, The Adversary to the Villain is going to be out August 4th, right before my birthday. Also coming out that day is The Lion and the Deathless Dark. Is part of a fantasy series that I did read this year. I can't remember what it's called. I remember I enjoyed it. I can't remember what it's called. I think I only read the first book, though. What is it called? Anyways, I'll have it right here. Why is my memory so trash? Anyways, that book is also coming out August 4th, so I am excited for it. I think I read the first book, and then the one this novella in between the first book and the second book, and then I don't know if I read the second book. I don't think I have, because I can't remember anything from it. And then there's another novella that you're supposed to read in between that book and this book that's coming out, and then the book that's coming out. So I will be getting on that this year, and I'm gonna try to do a bunch of reading vlogs for 2026. I love watching reading vlogs. I love seeing people's reaction to books. I tried to do a few reading vlogs in 2025, and then I would just forget that I was supposed to be doing them. And it'll be like 2 weeks later, and all the books that I was planning on, that I started reading for that video, I completely forgot. So I'm going to do better this year, and we'll get some reading vlogs out on this channel. All my anticipated reads will probably be in them. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a cozy time. We're going to have some thrillers, probably some more thrillers, because apparently I really like thrillers, and some more fantasy. There's going to be so much more book content, book hauls, reading vlogs. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have fun here. That is today's video. Let me know what your top reads were for 2025. I would love to know. What were your lowest? Also let me know so I can try to stay away from them. If you disagreed with any of my books that I had on my lists, let me know. We can discuss about it in the comments. Also, let me know what your anticipated reads are for 2026. I feel like I just started ticking away at the tip of the iceberg for reading, and I'm just so excited. It's just so many books in such little time. I will see you in the next video.